The 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals reversed a federal judge's temporary injunction to 8 inmates that Arkansas, the state of Arkansas, had planned to execute. Let's break down this whole story, how this got to where it is. So a federal judge threw the process into turmoil early Saturday after agreeing to halt the scheduled executions, putting the Arkansas's capital punishment plans in jeopardy for the foreseeable future. Now, the state attorney general's office is appealing, and obviously that appeal just went through and it did reverse that injunction. Why this is going on? The state plans to employ a 3-drug lethal injection cocktail, midazolam to render the inmate unconscious, vercuronium bromide to paralyze and stop their breathing, and then finally potassium chloride to stop the heart. But it is the defense's claim that midazolam, which is not an anesthetic, doesn't always work, allowing the patient to wake up in incredible pain due to other drugs coursing through their veins. And they have cited incidences that have taken place in Arizona, Alabama, Oklahoma to buff up their case. Now, the Assistant Federal Public Defender, John Williams, says, quote, "We are calling on state officials to accept the federal court's decision, cancel the frantic execution schedule, and propose a legal and humane method to carry out its executions." Basically, what they're citing is there's a threat of irreparable harm to the plaintiffs. That is significant, and the drug is going to expire at the end of this month, which is why the state of Arkansas is really pushing for these executions to go through. There's even more to unpack. I guess we can talk a little bit about just that first part of the case, and then we can dive into what's going on with the circuit judge who placed a restraining order on the second drug, and they were actually reassigned from the case due to a conflict of interest. But from the jump, I want to get a reaction from you guys as this is a developing story.
Yeah, so there's easy parts to this story and harder parts. The second judge is a little harder. First judge, I think, is very easy. So we're now in the year 2017 and we can't figure out how to put someone under. I don't mean 6 feet under, sorry. I mean in terms of an anesthetic. I mean, we do it in every surgery in the country, but we can't find a drug that puts the guy completely under. They've woken up in 3 different states in the middle of when they're supposed to be knocked out, in the middle of being killed.
Right.
That's a no-brainer. Of course you can't do it with that drug. It doesn't work. And they have ample evidence that it doesn't work. Is it cruel and unusual punishment to wake up in the middle of your own execution? Yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer.
But like, what is the usual way to put someone to death? Like, what do you mean? Like the non-cruel, usual way to put, like it's a drug cocktail. Well, death cocktail, those words together sound unusual. Calling it a cocktail freaks me out every single time. Like, cocktails are supposed to be delightful and tasty and get you a little tipsy. Don't call it a cocktail, it makes me sick to my stomach.
So that gets to a second easy part, Brett. We shouldn't have the death penalty. So, and I used to be in favor of the death penalty, and I'm a vengeful dude, and I've explained this 1,000 times. But it turns out we don't execute the right people. It turns out 4% of the people on death row have been exonerated. Are you kidding me? 4 out of 100 times we're like, oh, we killed an innocent guy, no big deal. You know how many people have already been let go because, oops, we had the wrong guy on death row? So far, 157. We were going to murder 157 innocent people. So it's one thing when you're killing the right guy, it's a totally different thing when you're killing the wrong guy.
Well, and furthermore, Cenk, what Arkansas was proposing to do is actually the greatest number of inmates who would be executed in a single state in this short period of time in modern history. So because of that and all the proximity of these executions, it would really increase the chances of one of these executions being botched. And so that is a major concern that is coming into play here because, of course, we know that there is a constitutional prohibition on cruel and unusual punishment, and it doesn't seem like that could be a guarantee in these cases.
So that's the 8th Amendment. And look, to Brett's point about, well, what's the usual way to kill someone? Well, would it be cruel and unusual and violate the 8th Amendment if we slowly sawed their head off?
I feel that's a little too far. That seems cruel and unusual, the slow sawing off of a head, yes.
In fact, we bomb other countries when people like ISIS do that. And we go, that is such a heinous and unacceptable thing to do that we will bomb you for it, and we will kill you and maybe some civilians along the way with it, okay? So, but sometimes that might be quicker than these drug cocktails. And then some of them wake up in the middle. The second drug is supposed to start having all your organs shut down.
So let me tell you about the second drug. So what happens with the second drug is it's used to paralyze and stop the inmate's breathing. Now, a circuit judge, Wendell Griffin, said on Friday evening that Circuit Judge Wendell Griffin placed a restraining order on this second drug called vercunium bromide because basically saying this circuit judge wanted to place a restraining order on the second drug because the manufacturer, McKesson Medical Surgical, said that they didn't want their drug associated with executions. And then the Arkansas Director of Corrections, Wendy Kelly, testified to that effect, saying that they had said that they didn't want to be associated with the executions. But this came into jeopardy because shortly after the judge handed down that ruling, the judge was then seen at a anti-death penalty protest outside of the governor of Arkansas's house. And as of today, the state Supreme Court has reassigned the cases from that circuit judge's docket.
So the reason why this is harder is two reasons.
It's so hard.
Okay.
It's very complicated.
It's really complicated.
Yeah, okay. So McKesson, the state of Arkansas goes to this company, McKesson Medical Surgical, and lies to them. Says, oh, I need this drug to help my cat, or whatever lie they gave them, right? And so they're like, okay, great, they sell them the drug because that's their business. And then they find out later, oh no, Arkansas is gonna use it to execute people. And they said, whoa, you bought that under false pretenses. I don't authorize you to use it to execute people. Now, that's a really hard case. If you're a judge, you could rule either way on that. Does the company have the right to ask for its product back? I don't know. I mean, boy, you'd really have to get knee deep in the legal weeds to try to figure out if they have the right to get the thing back, right? So I think that could go either way. Then the judge comes out of ruling in that case, and literally joins an anti-death penalty protest. And he's the guy who dresses up as the inmate being ready to get killed in the show that they put on in the protest. It's problematic.
Yeah, I can't imagine, I can't think of a judge doing something like that while they're still a judge. Like maybe afterwards you become, when you're outside, but the reason that we dress judges in black robes so that they're a floating head is just so that we can maintain this idea of impartiality. Like there's not even a body there. It's just a mind to listen to what you have to say and judge based on the law. And for him to then go and take that persona completely away, dress as an inmate on death row. But then on the other hand, he's a judge. We have hired this, we're elected, depending on where we are, we've elected or hired this person and given them full faith to make judgments on things like the death penalty. So why should we be surprised if we see them? And maybe we should take it more seriously when we see a judge at this level saying, this is ridiculous and we shouldn't do it.
Yeah, and so I always think, what if the shoe was on the other foot? Yeah, so now I know that the judges are in fact people and they have a lot of political opinions. And who are we kidding when we pretend that they don't? And I know they also have their First Amendment rights and they're also citizens. But there is a point to pretending to be impartial, because otherwise then we begin to think, well, none of this is fair. They're just voting based on their politics, not based on the law. And I think that appearance actually does have value. And I think that there's value in maintaining that appearance of impartiality. And I hope for a lot of judges, the reality of impartiality. So if the shoe was on the other foot, and there was a guy who made a decision that really could have gone either way on a pro-life, pro-choice case, and then he takes his robe off and goes and joins a pro-life rally and says, "Stop murdering babies," and holds up a poster. Are you positive that he made an impartial ruling?
Yeah.
I'm no longer completely positive. So, and I think that if you're pro-death penalty, you get to be not so positive that this decision was impartial.
Yeah, it was irresponsible. It was definitely irresponsible. Also worth noting is that there were 2 executions that were supposed to have occurred at 7 p.m. today for Bruce Wardendon and Dan Davis. They both have received stays as of today. So no one of the 8 inmates that were scheduled to be executed have been executed.
And I believe combined, they've been on death row for 51 years.
Yeah, one of them was on death row for 26 years. So what happens is the state of Arkansas the state of Arkansas didn't have all the drugs that they needed for this lethal cocktail. Now they finally have the drugs that they do need, but one of them expires at the end of the month. So they're just insanely speeding up this process, and it doesn't leave time for clemency. A lot of judges have issued opinions. All of them are calling, most of them are calling for a halt on this, because whether it's procedural or because they are ruling that it's cruel and unusual, I think that you have to listen to what the judges are saying here.
So look, last thing on this is to Brett's point about, is there a way of killing someone that isn't cruel and unusual? I think the answer is no. And if look at the framing. If ISIS had found a chemical that stops your heart while you're still conscious, we'd be like, oh my God, they're using chemicals on these people, and while he's still alive, he can see his heart is about to stop, and then it stops and he dies. How cruel and vicious is ISIS? Let's go kill them all. When Arkansas does it, you're like, oh yeah, it's a chemical cocktail, right?
Yeah.
No. You can't have the guy wake up in the middle of and look at his heart about to stop, and then no, we can't do that. And I don't know that we tried gassing people, we tried a firing squad, we tried hanging them. Now we've tried the drug cocktails. And given that we're set to murder 157 people that didn't do it, maybe we should just keep them in prison for life instead of trying to execute them in a humane and lovely way, because there isn't one. Our journalism drive is almost over. It ends in Trump's first 100 days. We need to hire more reporters and more watchdogs. Let's do that right now at tytnetwork.com/go.